aí, antenados! Tudo bem com vocês? Eu sou a Radassa Vental e tá começando agora uma entrevista exclusiva com Arlo Parks. Hi, Arlo. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming by. So, how are you?
I'm good, yeah. It's my first time in Sao Paulo, so I've been kind of trying to slot in little walks and moments of exploration in between the work.
What have you seen so far?
So I went to that district that's kind of like the Japanese district, I believe, and we went kind of walking through the markets and like went to some crystal shops, had some lovely food, some nice dinner with my manager and my guitarist. So yeah, we've had a nice time.
Yeah, that's great. So, it's your first time here. How are you liking Brazil so far?
I love it, honestly. It feels, well, we were just talking about this before, how it's like this massive kind of metropolis, but there's also this sense of nature, and you know, the beach isn't far away. We're going there tomorrow.
Cute.
And there's just so much energy. It kind of reminds me of New York in a way, in terms of like how, yeah, I feel like it never sleeps.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So you're also here to play at a festival, right? What are your expectations for your first show here at Brazil?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard about the passion and the energy of Brazilian fans, and I feel like, you know, as a performer, when you get that much from an audience, it really kind of makes the experience super magical. So I can't wait.
Have you ever met a Brazilian fan anywhere, or do you get any messages
Yeah,
on your Instagram?
I get a lot of messages. Yeah, I get a lot of messages. And I've had a few people who, you know, maybe are from Brazil and study abroad coming to the shows, but this is the first time like properly playing here. Yeah.
Cool. Are you excited?
Yes, I'm very excited.
So your song Too Good from 2021, it was actually the 13th most requested song here.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I just thought I'd share that so you can start to feel the love.
Yeah, thank you. I feel the love. I feel it.
All right. So now I want us to go back to the beginning a little bit. What's your earliest memory involving music?
Okay. I feel like it was probably sitting in the car with my dad on the way to do like the grocery shopping on a Sunday and hearing Sitting on the Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding, this like beautiful soul song. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. Have you always wanted to be an artist and do art for a living?
I feel like I knew that writing was my passion, and I wanted to do something kind of in that world, whether that was kind of journalism. You know, for a while I wanted to be a journalist, because I loved to talk to people, and I loved, you know, expressing myself in that way. And the idea of being an artist as a career felt so rare. Like, it felt like you had to be so impossibly lucky to be able to do it. So I kind of felt it was something I dreamed about in the back of my mind, but it's not something I ever thought would like really come true.
Yeah. What's it like to look back and see, you know, that you're actually doing art for a living?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. You know, I feel like, as I said before, a lot of people don't make it this far, and a lot of people who are extremely talented, you know, spend a lot of time trying to work their way up to having acclaim and don't quite get there. So, yeah, I feel lucky and proud of myself.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned writing, because I know you've been described before as a poet, but as a musician as well. So I was hoping you could talk about this fine line, I guess, between poetry and music. So how does music become poetry, or how does poetry become music? What's that process like for you?
Yeah, I feel like everything kind of starts from the words. So I'd say the poetry is the kind of raw material that the songs kind of form out of. And there are some things that I write that do just stay as poems, because when you think about a song, you have so little space to say so much. So, you know, in a chorus, there's one line that has to kind of capture the whole story of the song. And sometimes there are thoughts that I kind of want to leave untouched. Like, I don't really want to carve them into something else. So I'll leave those as poems. But yeah, they're very closely linked to me in my mind. Yeah.
That's great. I never thought about it that way. So, which lyrics of yours are your favorite so far?
That's a big question.
Yeah, tough question.
Yeah. I think the line, I'm really proud of the line in Pegasus, I need love like a body needs sugar. And I think, I don't know, it just came to me, and a lot of my favorite lyrics, for example, from Black Dog as well, it's so cruel what the mind can do for no reason. And I don't know, there's something that I channel sometimes where I feel like it's almost like lightning bolt, like passing through me. And those lyrics that come like the most easily are usually my favorites.
Nice. It's like you're a messenger.
Exactly, a messenger. I like that.
Yeah. So what's it like? You mentioned, these past songs like Black Dog. What's it like to look back at those songs and see how you've changed?
I mean, I like to see it as part of the journey, really. Like when I think about my favorite bands, I always like to listen to their first record and kind of see where it was that they came from and when they were at their purest and hadn't really been in the industry for very long. And I think, it's each album is very much a time capsule. And there are things that maybe I wouldn't approach in the same way now. But I still look back on it fondly because, it got me to where I am today.
Yeah, I love that. So I know that you're growing up and you're talking about this mid-20s or early 20s anxiety, and it's so difficult. It is so difficult. What's it like to be so young in the music industry?
I mean, I feel like actually a lot of the people like within my community are also quite young. I guess my friends are in general kind of in their like mid to late 20s maybe, but there are still people like Claire, like Clairo and Claude, and like a lot of people who are also young navigating the industry. But I don't know, I feel like I've been quite lucky in terms of the people that I've surrounded myself with, and there's no one who's kind of treated me as if I knew any less because I was younger, and kind of celebrated the fact that I was young and had done this so far and had such a long career kind of ahead of me to work with. So far it's been good. Yeah. Good experience. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear. So how do you think that being part of Gen Z influences your approach to music?
I guess, I just write about my life. And obviously I am from this generation. There are very specific things about the world that we live in as like 20-year-olds in terms of like technology and the anxiety surrounding like the environment, and even in the way that we communicate and the way that we date. But I can only write about what I'm in and who I am now. So I guess everything about it inspires me. Yeah,
for sure. So I want to talk about last year for you. So I know that 2022 was pretty big. It was pretty intense, actually. You traveled a lot. You performed at Coachella with Phoebe Bridgers. You played with Billie Eilish. Have you had time to sit and process everything? How's that been like?
I feel like I have little moments. I feel like it's always kind of when I'm like, I'll be on an airplane or I'll be in a car somewhere and suddenly it will just like hit me. I think when you're in the moment, you're so focused on kind of doing a good job that you don't really have the energy or the mental headspace to process how enormous this moment is. But there are definitely things that have kind of sunk in over time.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So besides, you're here right now and you're releasing your new album soon, which I will talk about in a second. But I wanted to ask you, what has 2023 brought you so far?
Yeah, I mean, what have I done this year? A lot of things. A lot of it has been kind of preparing for the release, because obviously the album comes out next week, and a lot of it is kind of building the creative world around the record, brainstorming video ideas, continuing to write as well, continuing to create things. I've got a couple little projects that I can't talk about yet, but that I've been working on as well. So yeah, it's been creating and just talking to people about the music.
And what do you hope to get out of what's left of this year?
So I'm going to be playing a lot of shows, going back to Asia, to Australia. But I really want to spend some time like sitting down in the middle of nowhere and writing and bringing in some of my friends, really digging into collaboration, and just, continuing to write, maybe in a different medium, like maybe it's writing a script or a book, just continuing to kind of push myself in that way.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you mentioned collaborations. Who would you like to sing with or write with?
So many people. Everyone from like, I'd love to do something with Pharrell, with Flying Lotus. I'd love to do something with like, I don't know, like Harry Styles or Bjork, or like someone that's kind of slightly outside of my world. But yeah, I'm a fan of so much music, so there's a long list.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get them done one by one. Well, so now let's move on to your second album, My Soft Machine, which comes out very, very soon. How are you feeling?
I'm excited. A mixture of excitement and nerves. I feel like when you spend so much time with this body of work that you've put so much into, sometimes you get a bit kind of protective over it and like letting it out into the world like a little child, you know. But I feel like my favorite part of Collapse in Sunbeams was being able to share it and being able to feel people enjoying it and loving it. So I'm excited.
Yeah. If you had to describe your new album in 3 words, which ones would you choose and why?
I think I would say sensitive, adventurous, and then just me. Like, I mean, I guess the words are quite self-explanatory, but I feel like I put so much of myself in terms of my own personal stories and my own tastes and my own kind of style of production. And obviously this record is still very introspective and very sensitive. But I do feel like I've kind of pushed myself into different sonic directions. And there's a sense of kind of curiosity and trying to challenge myself and who I am as an artist.
Yeah, for sure. So how do you think that your approach to music has changed since your previous album?
To be honest, I feel like there is just kind of a consistency in terms of how I see music. Like, it's the one thing that makes me feel like a child almost, in terms of how excited it makes me and how central it is to who I am. I guess over time I've kind of grown in confidence in terms of like my abilities and where I can push my music, and the fact that, you know, I'm good at what I do. Like, I think for a while you're kind of feeling your way around in the dark, maybe have a bit of that imposter syndrome, but I feel quite confident in what I do now. And I think, I don't know, I managed to spend a little bit more time like trying to be present this year. Because when I was younger, it felt like there was very much a sense of urgency and it was frantic and it was all now. But I think now I'm finding a way of kind of having little moments of rest to really like sink into everything. Yeah,
that's very important. So I know that your new songs are going to cover complicated subjects, I guess, like that anxiety, self-sabotage, and also falling in love for the first time. Which song would you say was the hardest to write?
I think honestly it was probably Pegasus, because it went through a million different versions of itself in terms of the production, in terms of the lyrics. It's really difficult to capture a subject like love because there are so many layers to it, and you have to kind of capture it wholly, I think. Like, you can't necessarily just talk about the good and the beautiful moments. There have to be moments where things are difficult or you grow apart for a moment, and the fact that it's a journey of like ups and downs. So I think it was difficult to get like a good balance of the two, but when I got it, it felt right. I knew it. Yeah.
So how did you get Phoebe Bridgers involved?
So she's a friend of mine who I've looked up to for a long time. We've sung a lot, at, you know, as you said, at Coachella we sang together, and Glastonbury as well. And I'm just a big admirer of the way that she sees the world and the way that she uses her voice, and the fact she's completely a shapeshifter, like can be on a song with Kid Cudi and with SZA, but at once with Taylor Swift, like, but she still really remains herself. So I just wanted her to bring that energy to the track.
Yeah, and she did.
And she did. Yeah.
So I also saw on your TikTok, as a fellow Gen Z, that you produced 3 of the songs from My Stop Machine in 5 days. What was that like?
Honestly, the whole record kind of happened in that way, where like I would do 2 songs in 2 days, or I'd do 3 songs in 5 days. And there are moments where just everything aligns. And I think that came from just me learning to be a bit more patient, letting things come to me, rather than, for, you know, the first day in the studio, I'm immediately just going as fast and as hard as I can. And it's honestly also being around people that I really trust, being with collaborators who just make me feel excited and happy about making music, and there's no pressure. It's just like a joyful process.
I'm glad. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You've also mentioned the music videos, and you've released a bunch of them, actually. So did you have fun shooting them?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. You know, I'm a big fan of film. I feel like film finds its way into my music a lot. Just kind of trying to create music that feels cinematic and that has the kind of sense of detail that a film might have. So being able to work with different creatives as well, and trying to kind of understand their vision of what I make, and it's a wonderful experience. Like, I really, really enjoy it.
Do you ever think about directing?
Maybe one day, you know? like in my mind's eye, I'm like, I could do that. But then if it came to actually doing it, I feel like I need a few more years to build up my confidence.
It's a bit complicated.
It's complicated, yeah, definitely.
So, well, let's talk about your future plans. You mentioned going to Asia. So what's it like, you know, going to a different part of the world and just knowing that people appreciate your work there?
I think in a way it's almost overwhelming, you know, because I made these songs in a very specific time in my life in a little corner of the world, and then to have somebody in Japan or in South Korea or here in Sao Paulo, like knowing the music and connecting to it so strongly and taking time out of their day to come to a venue and sing with me and see me, it's still something that I'm kind of processing. It's a beautiful thing, for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. And would you say, how do you think your younger self would react if you told her, you know, everything that's going on right now?
Yeah, I think it would be a big shock, for sure. I think it would be a big shock, and I don't know, I feel like when you're a kid, you almost have to be in that state of like being really hungry for something, but also kind of not being sure if it's going to work out. I feel like if 15-year-old me knew that all of this would happen, maybe she would do things a bit differently. Like I think there was that like little spark of doubt, but also a little spark of self-belief is kind of what made all of this happen.
Yeah. Would you do anything differently?
No, I wouldn't. I think it's all part of the journey, and if you change one thing, then who knows where you're going to end up. Yeah.
And you're also playing some festivals, right? So do you prefer smaller concerts or bigger concerts?
I think in general, smaller concerts, just because then you can really see everyone's faces and it feels intimate, and I don't know, it just feels like everyone's close. But also bigger concerts, of course, like have, you know, for example, the stadium with Harry Styles was like, it was just such a landmark moment. So I guess those bigger stages feel like really important and like dreams are coming true, but smaller shows, I just feel like really close to my fans, which I really like. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite memory from performing?
I think I really enjoyed doing Glastonbury, doing the Pyramid stage with Lorde and Clairo. That was really, really special. Just to be among friends, to be on like one of the most iconic stages in my country, and to be able to just sing peacefully together, and it felt so like serene and magical. That was one of my favorite memories for sure. Yeah.
That's lovely.
It was great.
So what's next for you after touring? Are you gonna rest?
Yes, I need a little bit of home time. I think I need to like go to the beach and hang out with my dog. That's the plan, really.
Yeah, I think that's a good note for us to end the interview.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Of course.
And I can't wait to hear your new album.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for you to hear it. Thanks so much.
E aí, pessoal, espero que vocês tenham curtido esse bate-papo tanto quanto eu. Não se esqueçam de comentar aqui embaixo o que vocês acharam, de compartilhar o vídeo, curtir e também se inscrever no canal. Eu vejo vocês numa próxima.